Welcome back, all of you Point 3 people, to the Point 3 podcast. Two-thirds of your favorite trios. Oops. I goofed my own intro. That's why we need our third trio here. Hero Scroll taking the night off. He's going to be back with us next week to kick off September. But everyone, if you're watching live, we appreciate you. If you're watching this recorded,
we appreciate you.
We appreciate you. Let us know down in the comments below what you reacted to for our first deep dive topic. We're going to be talking about a nice, crispy 3-piece live stream here. Check out Spider Brando's shirt. Spider Brando, just give us a quick flex here. For those of you watching on YouTube.
Dude, I'm repping two of our topics today.
Two of the topics. One for life, one for the moment. But actually, who knows? Crazier things might happen in December. But everyone, 3 exciting things that we're going to be talking about today on the Wednesday live stream with Spider Brando and myself, Lou. And the first piece that we're going to jump into, we'll touch on in just a minute. But 3 things that we always talk about every single live stream, that is to keep watching, keep reading, and keep nerding out. We're going to talk about 2 of them. The first one, keep reading. Guys, I got to tell you, Paul Jenkins Century Run, I have been going absolutely bananas for this. I've been blowing up Discord. You guys are probably sick of me having conversations with myself in the middle of the night.
You make me want to read it.
Oh my gosh.
I need to get into Century before Thunderbolts.
It's so good.
Absolutely need to.
I mean, it has gotten me a lot more excited. So definitely check out our third half, 20 minutes of the live stream. We're going to be talking about comics and movies. Do you need to read them before seeing the movies? I have a different perspective right now for a couple of things, so we're going to touch on that. But let's get into it, though. Let's not let the people keep waiting for this first topic. It coincides with Keep Nerding Out, because I have to say, man, you have gotten me nerding out. When I saw yesterday at 9 Eastern, this trailer dropped. I had to be there. I had to see it. I thought of you after the trailer because I was so into it. But man, kick us off. What are we nerding out about? What's our first topic?
We obviously are nerding about Sonic trailer. Finally freaking coming out months after months. You guys are probably sick of me yapping about it for all this time. But it was everything I could have freaking asked for. Like, legit. Keanu, perfect. The colors on Sonic, Shadow, Tails, just everything about that trailer was such a chef's kiss. And I gotta give it the duo.
Bam.
And the trio.
All
of them. But I can't wait for that movie. I think Keanu is going to kill it as Shadow. They had a lot of Superman, or they had just like a lot of references from other fighting styles in that game.
Mm-hmm.
He did a Shadow 05 game, which was cool. I love that trailer. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
How did you like it from kind of just not really being into Sonic as much as I am?
I mean, I'll put it this way. Sonic is the same age as me, right? Going back to 1991, I grew up with Sonic as kind of like a side character, like outside of like Marvel and DC. I grew up with Sega, and I really got into Sonic for Sega Dreamcast. Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Adventure 2, that was my bread and butter. Those are like my go-tos. So it was massive when we were back at, Heroes Con, and you're looking for Shadow stuff, and like looking through all of those boxes really took me back and put me in a place. And like knowing your hype for Sonic and talking to people being like, Sonic is like, the fandom is becoming louder and louder and louder.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was so apparent. I was so ready to see people's reaction to this, kind of like that sub period of like reinvigorated with Sonic to getting to the point where this is coming out. When I mean, who knew when it was coming out? But oh my gosh, like I was so into it. I watched. I know you've watched it tons of times.
Like how he's 10.
I've watched it on my TV. I've watched it on my phone a bunch of times. Every time it comes up as an ad or I'm on Twitter, I see it. No, I'm not going to call it X. I'm calling it Twitter. My TV, I watched it again. I've watched it on my computer. I watched it during work. Like, I was blown away, man. I was blown away. And the aura that Shadow has,
It's beautiful.
I wasn't expecting it to be that legit.
Really.
I mean,
as soon as they said Keanu was Shadow, I was like, oh, I'm sold. I was hooked. Absolutely hooked.
I
They
mean,
put so much love into this. It's so beautiful. Like they had Jeff Fowler, the creator or one of the creator animators of Shadow, got to work on this trailer. So it's just like, wow.
I want to quickly just kind of talk from the perspective of just like appreciation and kind of what drew me into what's up here. I was very impressed with the coloring, how finished this trailer looked, and just how truthfully badass the moments were with Shadow, because I think it's something, and you guys all know this. We just talked about 2 trailers, a few weeks ago, of like kind of comparing Captain America and Thunderbolts, and like you get the 2 like big aces that kind of show up in the trailers, which is Red Hulk and the potential of Bob or Sentry, right? And you're just like, what do we want to see next in those trailers? It's just badass moments like this of action, look, aura, feel, all those types of things. And like when Shadow was like, yo, Knuckles, like, chill. And then you see like the movements and how clean it is and how quick he moves and just the action and the sequences and just everything that went into this 2 some odd minute trailer. I don't know, was it almost
like
3-minute trailer?
Yeah. It was amazing. Every single second of it.
How clean was it when Shadow just drops to one hand, like a perfect kick, knocking Knuckles back into the air? Like just little things like that are what I love to see in trailers that get me extremely excited for the movies.
May I share something real quick?
Share away, my good friends. Share away.
Just
it's so, dude. Right now, off the top of your head, name a better movie that introduced a character that everyone's been anticipating from an animated perspective. Because Mario Bros, sit down. You ain't looking like that.
Definitely not Mario Bros.
TMNT, out.
Yeah, I don't know. That's tough.
Are we going into Spider-Verse territory?
No, because like,
look at that. Just scroll down a little bit. Scroll down a little bit. Just let that play. Yeah, just let that play for the fans.
Look at how the water reflects on it.
Bro, visually, this movie from an animated perspective.
Yeah, no, I think this is the best like CGI and live action interpretation ever. Everything is so vibrant. Everything is so freaking just color graded beautifully.
So good. So good. It's coming up though. I mean, epic entrance. Looks so good. Sonic with the ha-has. But even still, like, dude, I showed people this and they're just like, what? Like,
it's so badass. And that's such a funny joke right there, because every time Knuckles handshakes someone, he always crushes their hand.
Yeah.
So he just got it right back to him.
Yeah.
And this is a freaking famous move right there. I can't wait. The wave dashing looks so beautiful.
Now question for you, Spider Brando.
Yes.
For those who haven't watched Sonic 1 and 2, do they need to watch those to get up to speed for 3? based
I
on
feel
what you
like
saw from the trailer? Because they haven't leaked much from the plot. Like we don't know that much yet.
I feel like yes and no. To like truly understand the human story of it, because they do a lot of the human stuff in here more than like everybody just wants it to be all three of them or four of them, which I would love it to be, but I know budgets can't handle
Yeah.
all that. So it's actually I like that they do the human connection too, just to like make it more personal.
Yeah.
Um So I would say they would have to watch 1 and 2 to understand that aspect of it, but if you wanna see it purely for Shadow, probably not, because they had like, they're gonna introduce Shadow in here, so it's gonna be like it's kinda like what Shadow Generations or the Sonic Shadow Generations game is doing right now. It's
Mhm.
just going through, like, Shadow's origin and, like, I love how they're it's Year Shadow, and it's just beautifully correlating right now
Yeah.
with, the game and the movie.
I'll put it this way. For those who like myself, right? I'm not going to pretend like I've watched these movies and I'm repeating them, right? I think the first one kind of put me off a little bit to Sonic. I was really excited, but I just think the internet really turned me off to the first one.
Dude,
And
that trailer one was that was some badness, but I believed. I believed.
I didn't. I wasn't a believer. The face, the look, like right there that we're looking at, that is the face of Sonic. That is the shape of
Yes.
Sonic. That's the head. Like it's so cool. Like
I
it's
love
cool.
it so much. I freaking love it.
Should we take that for the point 3 podcast?
I was thinking about that when I saw the 3, I was like,
We got to get you in both of those poses, and we'll just mirror you, and then just do like point 3.
Dude, that
But
video
no,
was so fun to make.
I was gonna say,
I'm sorry.
no, really quick, really quick. I know you have a lot of excitement, but if you had to rank like characters before Shadow appears, what was your order of like the best characters from the first 2 movies? It's like your top 3. And then where would you put Shadow, you think?
I don't know how to. Hmm.
Like, do you have
Wait,
your
are you
face?
saying just in the Sonic franchise or just?
Yeah, just in the movie franchise, yeah. Your top 3
I
favorites.
would like to see. Hmm. There's still a chance that we get to see Amy in here, which would be pretty cool. But out of Silver, I've always like wanted to see Silver at one point.
No, I mean who we've seen so far in the first 2 movies, your top
Oh,
3 from the first 2 movies.
probably Knuckles, definitely Knuckles, and Robotnik.
No Sonic love for the top 2?
Well, it's a Sonic movie, so I'm always like I'm gonna expect.
I don't know,
It's
man. If I were to say this for Spider-Man, you're like, I don't know. Tom Spider-Man's gonna be a 1 or 2.
Andrew, wait, yeah, but Andrew's always my one though.
Yeah, all good. Okay. Well, anything that you wanted to add to the Sonic 3 hype, anything that these point 3 fans should be looking out for based on what you know, based on what you saw from the trailer?
If you haven't seen 1 and 2, go watch them immediately, and you'll get hyped as much as I am. Kid Cudi has a song in Sonic 2, and it's a banger of a song with the movie, so it always that sticks out to me a lot. And then we're gonna get Keanu Reeves as Shadow for Sonic 3, so how could you not be excited for that?
Yeah.
Marie is getting shot. It's classic origin story.
Oh. When does that happen?
in Sonic Adventure 2.
Is it going to happen at the end of the movie?
Oh. No, it says his origin, so it's probably just gonna be like a flashback
Yeah. Okay.
from like years ago. Because that's how like in the trailer they said Sonic they said to Sonic that Shadow was just like him, but he lost instead of Shadow gaining. And that was like a callback to how he lost Maria. But
What?
oh, this movie's gonna be so good.
Dude, I wanted to ask you one thing.
Yes.
The return of Robotnik. How was that a plus for you? Was it nice to see Jim Carrey back? Was it a welcome
I was super
trailer?
happy to see him as the um big stomach Eggman for a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
That was cool. But I'm very excited to see how he does how he plays Dr. Gerald and kind of like mirrors himself. Because he's kind of comedic as Gerald. I can't say his name right now. If he kind of plays the same Robotnik as he does Dr. Gerald, that'll be kind of weird. But I
Mm,
could see it working. I could see it working out. I'm
fair
letting
enough.
you just gotta let them cook. I've been saying this. The MCU walks so the Sonic verse can run. That's
Dude,
all I'm saying.
honestly, oh my gosh. Shadow
That's
looks
all I'm
so
saying.
legit. Dude, even I'm just digging the nighttime scenes. I'm sorry, I can't keep going back. Like Knuckles is my favorite from the Sonic verse, if you will. Always has been. That's kind of always been my go-to. But I gotta give some props to Sonic. Just the way that they made him look in this. I just feel like the vibe. I'm hoping for a little bit more of a
I love all the
serious tone.
sounds too that they
Yes.
added of like the OG games of the spin wheel and the coins and like when you bounce off of stuff,
Yep.
like when he's jumping. Oh, it's amazing.
For those that don't know, that's like for Sonic people, that's like Mario sounds.
Yeah. Dude, he cure slide. Like
It
come
was so dope.
that
I
is
wish
amazing.
we could show that, but oh man, I think this is definitely going to be in the when does Craven come out? Forgot.
Like December 15th, I think. So Craven's actually the week before. I always thought it was the same
Yeah,
week. But it's Sonic 3's against Mufasa.
that's right.
Oof, that's gonna be tough.
All right, all right, all right.
Oh,
Early
look at this, 2.7 million views though.
post trailer box office prediction.
December 20th, Christmas time. I'm gonna say 600 million.
600 mil?
600 mil.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know what the first two made on their opening weekend.
That's why we do the internet.
Damn right.
Sonic.
72. Oh yeah, that's kind of. Damn, I just said a wild number.
72.
72, and then Sonic 1 had 58 million. Yeah, wait, why the fuck did I just say 600 million?
Now, I don't know, man. I think that there is a chance that this crosses 500.
It can.
I think it looks good enough.
In
Let's just hope.
Japan, too. It's gonna go crazy in Japan.
Because was that its highest region? Let's see if we can see for Sonic 2.
I just saw it somewhere.
Japan. It did about 343.
Oh, about the same.
It's not bad.
2022 people were still no.
I
That's
don't think
still
2022 people were on this the same way that they like the hype for it was. I don't know. I mean, at least for me, I remember thinking back on, and then I'm like, okay, Sonic came out, and I'm like, there's some, between the whole like gender thing and the face and the CGI and all that, and I was like, okay. Then for Sonic 2, I'm like, Tails is cool, but probably one of my least favorite characters. To be honest with you, I don't love Tails.
Yeah.
I'm like, give me Super Sonic, give me Knuckles, give me Shadow, give me those characters. Like, even give me a Big Cat, that's fine. But Amy, that's when like you expand the Sonic universe. That's when I'm like, that's the fun stuff for me.
And they will. I remember months ago seeing the news articles from the directors and saying how they want to expand it to be like the Marvel verse and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be exciting, and it's gonna start with this movie.
Yeah,
And
I
you
think
know what else is expanding into the multiverse?
Mm.
Spider-Man. Unfortunately, very, very unfortunately. This is a big,
What?
big segue jump right here, but it's I'm not liking these rumors that we're hearing so far. So Spider-Man 4 is supposed to come out in July 2026, which for me personally, I'm a little hyped because July is birth month, obviously. And if
Yeah,
Marvel besses me a third year in a row with some great movie, I'll take it. But it's set to be in between Doomsday and Secret Wars, and it is very, very, very likely to be a multiversal movie. Unlike past rumors where it was just we were expecting street level, Daredevil crossover, Kingpin team up, or not team up, but like just them teaming
Yeah.
up for Kingpin. So it feels cheated a little bit.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, listen, going back to kind of that whole grounded aspect of Spider-Man, I think throughout the podcast, we've always kind of talked about what's next with Spider-Man. Obviously, Sony has their claws all over the Spider-Man IP, right? So are we surprised that Spider-Man 4 is going to be multiversal to try and probably build up some other Sony characters? No. Are Tom and Toby going to probably show up again? I'm leaning more yes than no, which I think kind of nerfs No Way Home in a lot of ways. So I don't want that to happen. But when we go back and we're like, hey, two things that we think would be really, really cool. One, symbiote, fine, Secret Wars. We understand that. But then two, Daredevil Born Again was supposedly supposed to move into Spider-Man 4, and you get some grounded street New York level characters that pop over in the Spider-Man, and you're like, that makes sense. My guy's swinging over Christmas trees. Hawkeye was in New York. This guy's got his homemade suit, no tech, just Spidey. He's doing his thing. He's back to his kind of friendly neighborhood Spider-Man roots that we've all wanted to see in the MCU. Cool prospect. But then fast forward to now, a couple weeks ago, SDCC, you get your Doomsday rumors, you get your Secret Wars rumors, you get your Russos, you get your Robert Downey Jr., you get your this is going to be huge. And it's like, do I want a multiversal Spider-Man in between two Avengers level movies? I want to be excited about that and hopeful for it. And I'm sure it'll probably be good. But I don't know if that's a Spider-Man I want to see. Now, my question for you, if it is multiversal, and yes, we do get a Toby and Tom, is there a world where you would be really excited going into the movie? All hypothetically, right? This is just pure speculation. There's no grounding for what I'm about to say. But would you be cool if we get a symbiote Spider-Man who does have to face off against a Toby and Tom, and that is the protagonist antagonist piece of the film.
I feel like I would like that. I don't know. That just feels like something Sony would do, and it would turn out terrible. But if I think Marvel, I think the MCU and Disney could cook with it. I think, because I mean, we got to see spoilers for Spider-Man 2 PS5, but not really at this point. Eddie, no, not Eddie, Harry as Venom, so that was a little different. So getting to see the Peters and like truly fight him as like a Venom type thing, that was
Yeah.
cool. I know symbiote suit, but like if you got to like be like that version of him, that was cool.
Now, if it's multiversal, that opens the door up for something that we've kind of thought about that may come, beyond the Spider-Verse. It being grounded kind of limits the opportunity to see a Tom Toby and Miles. Not saying who would be acting to play Miles Morales, but with the prospect of Miles Morales entering the MCU via Spider-Man 4, because again, he has great ties to Secret Wars in 2015. How would you feel about that?
Ooh, that would be awesome. That would be such a cool jump from like from animation to live action. That would be just as cool as Shadow going from animation to live action.
Okay, so would you want it to be the Into and Across the Spider-Verse version of Miles Morales that would get a live action form? Or separate from a different universe?
I would like it just because like that Miles story shouldn't be over so soon. And then like I just want to see more of that story, and seeing it, like just knowing the title Beyond the Spider-Verse is such a freaking innuendo into like going beyond the what we know as the animated Spider-Verse into like the live action Spider-Verse. So we got a live action Spider-Verse with Toby and Andrew and Tom already. So maybe Sony was tying their webs and cooking all this time, but I don't think so.
Okay. So knowing the prospects of like Sony, right? Sony, maybe they need a second wind by this point, because it'll be 2026 when this movie comes out. You said July. So obviously we're coming up on what is next for Sony, and we get Venom: The Last Dance, and then we get Kraven at the end of the year. So let me throw the scenario out there. Just I'm gonna rapid fire these to you and just say yes or no. Would you want to see them in the movie?
Venom and Kraven?
No, I'm going to give you characters.
Oh, okay.
We'll start with Kraven.
No.
Okay. Spider-Gwen from Spider-Verse.
Ooh.
Played by Haley Steinfeld.
That's weird with the ha.
Yeah, poop it. I mean, you got RDJ. Who cares? Everybody can play anybody.
That's true. Yeah, I would like it.
All right. Spider-Man 2099. Another potential, between Moon Knight.
Oscar
Isaac.
Did I take it? No. I don't know if I could see him playing 20. No, yeah, I could see him playing 2099.
Okay.
I could see him. I feel like he'd have to get like very bulky in the back though.
Yeah, that's the one thing. The design is kind of wild.
He on Moon Knight to hide that a lot, and the freaking Apocalypse neck things. So.
Yeah. Apocalypse is the only one that really was him. I don't even know. I'm sure he was at some point, but they need a stunt double for that. Would you be okay with multiversal Sinister Six characters that are not anyone we've seen so far play Goblin, Electro, Sandman, Doc Ock? Like you're getting Vulture, you're getting brand new people playing these characters, but they're different versions of them.
I would like to see a Vulture in there. But yeah, I feel like I would like to see it because we didn't get like a true Sinister Six. I mean, there's 5, and sure, there was a good amount that make up Sinister Six.
Yeah.
Obviously, but
Yeah.
I've always liked seeing all different versions of them throughout the comics and history, and just
Okay.
Spidey fighting different type of Vulture. Morbius would be unique. It's Morbin time.
I got one more for you.
But what's up?
I got. All right. Prowler Miles.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that.
Live action.
Oh. By the same person that's Miles.
Yeah.
If they do that. Okay. Yeah, that would be cool. If they do, they have to do both though, obviously.
Okay, so you'd have to have Miles that would stick around and then Prowler separate.
Yeah, I feel like it wouldn't make sense if it was one or the other.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. I would be open for it. I mean, if they're gonna do a multiversal Spider-Man movie, I feel like you're getting kind of towards the end where we just need to like send Tom Hardy's Venom. I mean, honestly, when you look at it, like if Sony really is going to keep doing their thing and they're going to have their hold on Spider-Man, let this be your chance to catapult. It's not the Venomverse, but let your Sony Spider-Man grow. And I think this is your one final chance to really give Andrew his next story. That's what I would want out of this, to be honest with you. Tom Holland, Spider-Man's whatever at this point. Give him the symbiote, let him do a Secret War storyline. But I think this is where you make a decision instead of having them play off of, Secret Wars and those types of things. Yeah, it's going to be cool if they show up on screen with Deadpool and Wolverine and Iron Man or whoever, but build more Sony Spider-Man off of this. It's easy. So you can kind of separate these stories moving forward with whatever they do. That would be ideal for me.
I have one question though, because this is something I have pondered upon a couple months ago. And do you think it'll be too much Spider-Man dilution though? Because you asked me that as well, and thought that it would be too much.
Say it one more time.
Would there, like, if they do like a Toby Spider-Man couple like movies and stuff, Andrew Spider-Man couple movies, Tom's doing his thing, having like 3 all go at once, would it be confusing for people?
Oh, would it be?
Especially with Spider-No Yard coming out too,
Yeah,
and the animated ones. Or have we seen enough multiversal stuff already to not be confused? And they kind of like integrated so well with No Way Home.
I don't know, man. I think you have like a unicorn when it comes to those 3, that they're big enough of names to feel like completely separate because they've been out. Their stories are unfinished for a lot of fans. I think you still have an opportunity to tell an older Spider-Man story, because I don't think the MCU is really going to fill that role, because Tom has been Spider-Man for what, a decade now? 2014 is when he showed up, or no, 2018?
It was 2016.
2016?
And,
all right, we're coming up. It's 8 years.
8 years.
That's still a long time. And this would be his 4th movie, which would put him tops for any solo character in the MCU, tying him with Thor, who's had 4. And then he's been in what, 6 movies total between Civil War and then both Avengers 3 and 4, Endgame and Infinity War. So I mean that's 6 movies. I don't know how much older he's going to be, and it's not like Tom Holland isn't older looking. Like he still looks like he's 12 in a lot of times. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
I think there's enough visually and there's enough historically. I think that there's enough of a fan base that I don't think it'd be too much Spider-Man. But if you told me we got like 3 Wolverine projects, I'd be like, no. I love Wolverine, but it's not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that. I fully understand that.
Like, here's a great example of a no. Fantastic Four. I don't want to ever see the other 2 Fantastic Four attempts get a second movie if they were to show up in this multiversal, you know, Fantastic Four film or Secret Wars. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. I wouldn't want to see. I saw a clip from Fantastic Four today, or Fan Fourtastic, and I was like, I forgot how cringy it was.
Yeah, it has a lot
The
of.
thing looks so bad in it, and then freaking. I saw the line. I remember the line of where it's like, "Oh, we're fantastic."
Yeah, dude, we've moved so far beyond those like cheesy things. That movie lives a very good life through still shots. Like when everyone was talking about like, you know, Doom and whatnot, they're like, "Oh, this Doom wasn't bad," and I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. Watch the movie. It's not good. You can look at the photos and be like, was it really that bad?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, it was." You can show Jessica Alba all day and be like, "She wasn't a bad Sue Storm." Press play, and then come back to the point of your podcast and tell us that it's not. But we got a question in the chat.
We do from Tom. Mr. Teenagers. Thoughts on the Gambit end credit scene Ryan Reynolds released. Followed by, is it going to pay off?
What do you think?
I don't think it's going to pay off, and I'm kind of mad he released it. That would have been cool as like a scene as like a deleted scene, and kind of letting us ponder upon it for a while. Because now it's going to put a lot of pressure on, kind of like how Deadpool 1 was. Greenlit originally with the test footage. And as much as I loved that Gambit and like Channing as Gambit and stuff. Oh, your camera was freezing a little bit.
Oh, he still got me?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
no, you're good now.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I would like to see more of him, but like I don't really care to see more of him. I'm happy he got his shine.
Yeah, somebody asked me that question yesterday or the day before, just about him, and then this came out, right? And for me, I'm like, if I go back and I look at like John Krasinski's Mr. Fantastic, fan cast come true in Multiverse of Madness, I'm like, that was cool. That was enough for me. But I wouldn't want to see him personally in another film as a lead who has, you know, an hour plus runtime in a 2.5 hour, movie. But for Gambit, I don't know if that type of character can carry a solo film. I think he's best suited as a cameo. Give him his one-liners, give him his comic relief. But if you go back and any fans or if anyone's watching this, you got the best taste of what some of the greatest Gambit content ever was, and that was during X-Men 97. That was a Gambit to me. That was a Gambit come to life right off the pages, to where he went from being like, who is this, to being like, oh my gosh, like, I'm shook to my core. You have affected my life. I didn't just laugh really hard, but for some people, maybe that's how you feel for a live action. So I guess I can't really say that. Point being, an X-Men 97 version of the Gambit character, you absolutely give me a him and Rogue spinoff, and I'll watch that 10 out of 10 times. But a Channing Tatum mumble fest for 2.5 hours? Nah. So is it gonna pay off that he gets his own solo film? No. However, could we see him cameo again in Secret Wars or another Avengers movie down the road? I absolutely think it's possible.
I could see that. Sorry, I had to yawn. I could see that, but and I'd be okay with that as well. I'd like to. It would be kind of interesting to see him
His action
go up
was
against.
pretty legit. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
Yeah,
that was cool.
parts are cool,
That was cool.
but I would like to see him interact with like Doctor Strange. I feel like that would be really funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like they can do a lot of stuff.
Or
Like his
Spider-Man.
character. Yeah. R.I.P. But Iron Man, I think, would have been hilarious too. Or Thor. I think Thor would be pretty funny. Like him and Thor just being like, what? What? Or Star Lord. That would be funny too.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
Oh, I wish I could have got a him and Drax interaction.
That would be funny.
Man, shout out to the OG Guardians. Dang. I hope we see them soon. There are some rumors that Nebula and Star Lord are going to be coming back with the new team.
Oh yeah.
So hopefully we should see them. What is going on? Super Review
What's
Show.
up?
All right.
Welcome.
We got some people here on the live. We're going to get to our final deep dive topic of the live stream for this Wednesday. Appreciate all of you who have joined and are watching. If you are new to our channel, join us every Wednesday, 9:05 Eastern, for the latest news and notes. And join our Discord. If you're not in the Discord, just get in there, because we've been talking some wild stuff, and just let us know your thoughts on Spider-Man 4, Sonic, and this next topic we have coming up, which is going to be comics versus the movies. Question for everyone, question for this segment. Do you need to read the comics to enjoy the movies? Now, some of you may know, some of you may not know, but the Point 3 podcast here, we have been making a good effort and push to read and catch up on these characters. Spider Brando's hitting Tom, he's hitting us already. No. No. So I agree with that, but I also disagree to an extent. And I will go back to one thing that James Gunn has said, which you've heard Sean Levy and Ryan Reynolds. And I think Deadpool and Wolverine is a really, really good example of it. And Spider-Brando, you've been reading some Deadpool and Wolverine lately. There's a level to these movies now to where the Infinity Saga, right? You had if you didn't watch the movies leading up to it and you went to Infinity War, you may enjoy certain aspects of it, but you're like, what the hell is going on? Like, everyone else is like crying, everyone else is happy. Like, the emotions are just a lot higher than I feel like they should be, right? But then you get something like a Deadpool and Wolverine. You may not have to have any context in terms of who the characters were in the comics, but for people like us, that's how we got to know and love these characters and where that emotional attachment was made with them, right? So when you get into the movie aspect of things, you have your history of these films, but it's the characters in the comics that really created that foundation. And James Gunn was saying, you don't necessarily need to do all this homework, Sean Levy. You don't have to do this homework for all these characters or watch all these movies or know what's coming from the pages, because you can just enjoy it for what it is when you sit there. So Spider Brando, I know I've seen, I think we both have seen each other kind of evolve over the last, couple of years of just comics to movies and what we kind of look at. I think Flash, if you guys want to get a really good insight into this, go back and watch our Flash review before the movie came out. I think that's probably our best example. That or Spider-Verse is really good. But what do you think about this, and kind of what's changed for you, over the past, year or two in terms of this topic? Are you muted?
I am muted. One, I do kind of agree with Tom. I can't read. I like the pictures though. But the pictures make it better because you could just look at them and scroll, go to the next page. No, I'm kidding. I can read everything. um, but over the past year, I've read a lot of comics, more than I have in the past like 3 years combined, which isn't like much. It's still like maybe 6 or 7. Um, and I've been reading a lot of stuff that's been relevant to what I've been watching or talking about on here, and it's just made me appreciate a lot of that stuff a lot more. So going into Deadpool, no, after watching Deadpool and Wolverine, I've read this Deadpool versus Wolverine comic, and it was just beautiful to just read it in Ryan and Hugh's voice, and like just your kind of inner monologue as their voice, and seeing them recreate scenes like straight from the comics that were like you saw in the movie. I remember one had the when Wolverine stabbed him and had like or
Mhm.
in the abs like that. It was straight from the page, and I was like, wow, I saw that live action,
Mhm.
and that makes you think. It's like, damn, like they really like if you do like if you've read that and then see it live action for the first time, that's even crazier. So it's kind of like it's weird. You don't have to read to enjoy because, like I said, I never read it before, but I totally understand if you do read why you feel like you other people should read.
I think the thing to add to that too is like it depends on what kind of fan you are for that genre or the content you're consuming, right? If you're a casual fan, I think you can enjoy a movie just by going. Like Deadpool and Wolverine is a really good example of you don't have to be a regular for the MCU, a regular moviegoer, a regular comic reader. You
Yeah.
really could enjoy that movie. Now, I think for us, we kind of teeter across various genres and fandoms of like that regular to hardcore fan. And you get kind of two aspects of this because this is a very loaded question for everyone because you can look at this in so many different ways. But you said something very interesting of like, I saw the movie and then I read the comic. And when I read the comic, I hear the voices of the actors that I really enjoyed, which made me really enjoy the comics. Although the art in there is fantastic, the story is fantastic, the people that are behind it, the
Mhm.
characters, all that sort of stuff is there. You elevated the comic via movies where you can flip that in a lot of ways and elevate the movies for the comics, which ties into like James Gunn was saying
Ooh,
you don't have to be someone who's watching all that. But if you are someone that's following all these things, or you are someone who's kind of invested like a hardcore, because we hear you, we know you exist, there's going to be a pretty big payoff for you when you go along this journey with us.
I agree with that because I wanted to add to all the Superman prep that I've been trying to read too. I
Totally.
can't wait to see from the comic to the live action perspective. So that's why I'm kind of like I don't know. You don't have to read. You just gotta appreciate everything.
Yeah, I mean,
What came first, the chicken or the egg? That
I'll
makes no
throw out
sense
one
in
more
this
thing.
context.
I'll throw out one more thing. Sorry, I know we are talking over each other. But I want your thoughts on this because outside of comics, right? Let's just talk about reading in general. Dune 2. I
Oh
think
yeah.
Dune 2 was a really good example of you don't necessarily have to read the books to appreciate the movies. Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, like this isn't just limited to comics. Even Sonic, I'm throwing that out there.
I was
Everyone's gonna
thinking
be like,
about that too.
go ahead.
No, I was just like earlier. I was just when you're when you were talking earlier, I was saying, oh yeah, like Sonic is just like that too. Like I just got all those Sonic comics.
Yeah.
Seeing that live action now is gonna be wild.
honestly, I only think like doing that extra legwork elevates and enhances your experience for better or worse. Because, I think like the Harry Potter books, people are just like, they cut so much out. Like, how can you guys enjoy these movies? How is this production fun? For me, it's fantastic. I loved it, but I also like the books. Same thing with different, but like Dune, they cut some things out. There are things about characters you're like, I wish I had more, but the books are like, here is more. Same thing now, getting back to the comics. For me, I'm very much in the camp of if you read, I'm probably going to enjoy the movies more because I've gotten all that, like, what's going to happen kind of out of the way, which I know for some people is like, I don't know if I want that, but I look at Sentry. I understand the character so much better reading 18 years, no, 23 years worth of Sentry content over the last week. Shout out Marvel Unlimited. I'm sorry for all of you who hate the digital aspect of this, but it's helped me kind of get over what we always talk about here at the Point 3 podcast of that first watch. Going back to Deadpool and Wolverine, like, what's the expectation? What's going to happen? You're looking for these things. Can I really enjoy it? I think when you read something before and you have background knowledge, you can appreciate, like you were saying, Spider Brando, a lot of things so much more. Just going back to even the beginning of this live stream, Sonic, your appreciation for the character has been there the entire time because you have a lot of prior knowledge, reading, going through the comics, seeing these characters, Shadow Love, all that. For me, I'm like, I don't know, but I see the trailer and now I'm on the bandwagon.
It's wild how it works.
Honestly. So I don't think that there's a defined concrete yes or no answer to this, but let's just stick with the MCU specifically. From what you've done with Spider-Man, even Superior, looking at all these characters, do you think that by you reading these omnis and issues, it's going to help you enjoy these movies more moving forward when we do ultimately get these characters or at least hints at these characters or storylines involving these characters?
I would say yes. I think I'm just gonna use Superman as an example. As an example again. Um, I like I've said many times in our previous discussions, I never really cared for Superman growing up. So getting to read his story and background and finally understand him as a character more, I can't wait to like connect with what James Gunn is cooking. And were you
That
gonna say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's very interesting is because this is post Man of Steel. So like you've seen Superman. Talk to me about that a little bit. Like you've seen that character already done. And for a lot of people, something their favorite, like Man of Steel is top of the list for a lot of people. But then reading this stuff and knowing kind of what James Gunn is saying and kind of projecting that onto the movie, I think that's pretty interesting to be like, I know the character now, but it differed from what you saw before, I think.
Yeah, no, I Man of Steel, it's got its flaws. I have mixed feelings about it, but I don't really like a dark Superman that much. And I know he still had his Superman moments and everything. Cavill did look great as him, but I'm excited for this nice just everything I've seen from the set photos and James Gunn has talked and referenced about it. Just a nice, like, truly hopeful, go lucky Superman that it seems like we're gonna get. But there's also people out there that have probably read all these Dark Superman comics and are like obviously obsessed with what Man of Steel was, so
Yeah.
and all that. And Zack Snyder's future visions for the character. So I feel like this just keeps going back, circling back. You gotta appreciate both.
Yeah.
Whatever you watched first or whatever got you hooked into said project, just appreciate it and appreciate the other sources that it stems out of.
Yeah. No, very well said. That's, I think you saying that got me. And my like final thought on this is when you attach yourself beforehand, right? Prior to, I'll say this. I think you can really elevate a movie based on this one thing. When you go through and you read a comic, an issue, you find that artist that made it look really good, and you see that adapted from a live action perspective with this suit, it elicits a response in you that's favorable. That's a plus. That's like maybe it's like a times 10 multiplier in a way. You're like, I love that look. I recognize that look. This is great. My expectations are a little bit higher. It'd be tough to take those down. But then when you have a story and you have a new character portrayal, such as like you're saying with Superman, mainly the all-star Superman feel and type of character that he is, because I think I forget exactly. I think maybe that's our intro to Road to Superman. You had a really, really, really good take on who this light, bright, hopeful symbol of hope type of character is for Superman. So when you watch the movie, and because you've read that, you've identified, and you're like, this is some of the best stuff I've read. This is one of the best characters that I've really done a deep dive into.
Mhm.
That's a massive, massive plus for the movie, because I feel like we just fill in all the other blanks that kind of come with
And
it.
that was only after like one all-star Superman too. I still have this Superman omnibus to get through, and I still want to read so much more. Just like what you're doing with Century right now.
Oh my
And
gosh,
what I have to do with Century.
please read any Century Star by Paul Jenkins is just like, where has this been my whole life? I should never have slept on Century like that. It was just, it's been there all along, and I'm like,
But
it's
now,
not gonna.
how does that temper your expectations for Thunderbolts now?
I mean, listen, I don't think the MCU is gonna adopt much, but if they take a few pieces, whoa. I mean, not only look out for the movie, but look out for the future of the MCU in a lot of ways. Now that they have a lot of the characters in play, that's the other tough thing. I'll say this: going through and reading these things, there is a negative side to this, and that is, I wish that we could have gotten all these characters from the beginning. Reading World War Hulk and now reading Sentry, it made me want to kind of like hit the reset button, and I kind of am a little bit more hopeful for a reboot, so that all of these characters can kind of originate around the same time. Because for those that don't know, I mean, the Sentry Serum, the Super Soldier Serum, Wolverine, Weapon X, the Weapons Plus program, like that's all intertwined, and we're getting a very like broken tchotchke version of it in the MCU. Shout out to Cat 4 with Adamantium. Spoiler for those who didn't know. I'm sorry, but I kind of wish there's kind of a clean slate for all these characters. I mean, shoot, even going back to Spider-Man 4, like we were talking about, New York could have been wild from the jump.
And
You
that's
know?
crazy you said that because Tom literally just had a clean slate of being freaking Spider-Man and just everybody forgetting about him. And
Yeah, but
now it's just multiversal, potentially.
yeah, they're like, hey, you should forget about everyone. Everyone's like, my guy's 100% MCU. And they're like, oh, by the way, everyone in the multiverse is going to have to learn who you are. And they're like,
Makes it's wild.
what was the point? I don't know. All I have to say after this is Doctor Strange. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave you with a cliffhanger. Doctor Strange, moving forward in the MCU, help this man's soul. Or souls. I don't even know what it's going to be. I don't know. I don't know. But any final words on comics versus movies?
Doctor Strange. Final words. You gotta. I do have 2 final words.
Okay.
You gotta keep watching, and you gotta
Ooh.
keep reading, and then you gotta keep nerding out about what you just watched and read, and how cool it originates from one and the other.
Wow.
Boom.
I think you just sent me through an entire hour live stream and back again in seconds. That sums it up. And listen, everybody, there's nothing else I can say to follow that up except this live stream has ended. We appreciate each and every single one of you who are watching. Just like Spider Brando said, 3 things that you got to keep doing. You got to keep watching, you got to keep reading, and you got to keep nerding out about the Sonic 3 trailer. Oh, if you haven't watched it, go check it out. Drop in the comments below what you thought. Maybe Spider Brando, maybe we should do a watch party for Sonic 1 and 2.
I
Get all the 0.3
100%
people
will
caught
at
up.
some point.
So,
And Knuckles, potentially Knuckles too. I finally finished that the other day. It was good. I enjoyed it.
Final grade on Idris Elba as Knuckles.
A.
That's all you guys need to know. A. So check out chat. Let's chat in Discord. Jump into our Discord. Chat to us about what you think about Sonic. Ooh, there's going to be some good stuff leading up to. The year's going to end well. I am hopeful for the end of 2024. Maybe Sonic can sneak into our award show that we do at the end of the year. So
#1 movie of the year, baby.
Sorry, Deadpool and
Early
Wolverine.
prediction.
Awesome. But everyone, with that, we will see you next Wednesday, 9:05 Eastern. Take care.